So what is this dirty secret that ICP, Solana, and NEO protocol are hiding from you? They're hiding it from me, they're hiding it from everyone, but they're hiding it in plain sight. As a matter of fact, some of you may already know the news I'm going to share with you today. The thing is though, do you know the implications? Do you understand how amazing the news actually is? Likely not, because statistically most people miss the possible pumps that will come from news like this. But not on this channel, guys. I'm going to explain to you this insanely huge news or possible huge news for these three coins. Also, some of the more bullish factors that, trust me, will make these coins do very well this cycle. Not financial advice, of course. And finally, I do want to, of course, address the obvious, which is where these coins are situated. Stay tuned. If you hold any one or all of these three coins, you do not want to miss this video. Now, of course, let me remind you guys, if you find yourself enjoying or learning something new from this video, you can actually help support me and my channel by just hitting that like button. That goes a long way, so I really appreciate all of you that have taken the time to hit that like button right now. And while you're down there, of course, you know the drill by now. If you aren't subscribed to this channel, you're seriously missing out on a lot of potential gains or knowledge, which could help you dramatically in this cycle. So make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you very much. All right. So first of all, it's plain and obvious in my opinion. Now, I've covered this on the private community in today's vlog, by the way, that of course link will be down below, that we are due for a massive liftoff in the next month, 2 months. And I think over the next 12 months, we'll likely see a massive bull run occur. We'll see FOMO, mass greed, all the rest of it. The banana zone is what it is called, thanks to Real Paul. Right now we're in the boring zone. It is designed to shake people out of the market. It is designed, as I've covered in many different videos, to allow the whales to accumulate your SOL tokens at cheaper prices. You buy back in later on, and what happens? You end up selling your Solana, your NEO, your ICP, quality coins, mind you, and then you buy back higher. Okay, and when you buy back higher, you look for the same ROI targets in terms of revenue, okay? And the whales, because they bought when you sold, they're able to sell lower, which means you end up holding your tokens forever. That is the way whales do it. I've outlined this many times, but that is for a different video. Not just, of course, Real Paul. We've got people like the Pizzinio brothers, of course, very reputable and I think very respected people in the crypto TA space, of course, saying, hey, we're about to experience DeFi summer from last cycle all over again, but 10 times more. And I would have to agree. Now, let's tie into these three coins. I'm going to get to the specific news in just a moment, but you have to understand these three coins outshine their competition. Let's start with the obvious. These three coins hit massive, massive areas of crypto. They hit, of course, AI, pretty much all of them. Solana, not exactly AI, but again, it does have AI projects on it if you want to stretch the truth. But they're all pretty much Web3 layer 1 altcoins, which has proven to be one of the most, I guess, steady over the course of time narratives to invest into, right? These tend to always do quite well, again, statistically over time. Not to mention as well, they both have a mix, or they all have a mix of DePIN, and they all have data availability, modularity, and of course, Solana is likely to be the next sort of Ethereum of the last cycle. The whole ICO craze now with meme coins, all the rest of it. I think, okay, let's all admit, these three coins are going to do well because of that and more. That's the obvious part. But let's now talk about some more of those bullish features before moving into the actual news itself. First of all, let's talk supply, okay? You have to understand this because there is a big buzz right now about low float, high FDV projects. We see influencers now talking about this like it's the be all and end all, which by the way, it's not. You have to understand how to analyze those tokens. However, again, most people won't look that deep into it, which could impact the price and the velocity of the coins. ICP, NEO, and Solana don't have that issue, which might make them better candidates as an investment for this cycle. Okay, so we have the likes of ICP. Most of the tokens are out, of course. We only have a little bit more of this sort of seed private round to still go. Again, if you want to get deep into the technicals of all of this, and truly you really should, you can argue, hey, maybe that ICP seed round investors, early backers and all that, they might actually have some of their tokens still. They might look to sell, but honestly, that's the same as every single project at this point in time. There won't be a single project out there, maybe besides the likes of Casper, but even then arguments to be made that whales, won't sell. Well, there will be whales selling all the time. Now, here's the important thing. All of these three tokens, we'll start with ICP, also have inflation, but all but NEO have disinflation, which means that the inflation rate started high. You can see here ICP started at 10%. And this works a little bit differently to regular inflation, right? It works on voting rewards and the NNS and all that sort of stuff. But basically, it will over time steady off to a flat 5% and be flat 5% inflation year on year forever. Now, that might sound scary, but actually that's on the low side, and it's actually healthy for a network to have inflation. If you don't have inflation, you don't have an issuance of new tokens. If you don't have new tokens, yeah, the price will go up forever, but eventually all those tokens will be hoarded, and because, as we'll see momentarily, ICP has a burn mechanism, that's actually quite bad. Well, again, depends how you look at it, but as an actual decentralized cloud, as ICP wants to be, there needs to be utility, there needs to be some sort of new issuance of tokens, okay? Now we can have a look over here, and again, this is what most people look at, okay? It's important to assess what most people look at, which is CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko's obvious stats. So lending supply 467 million, total supply is 521 million. Of course, we do have a few more tokens to still come out, and a slight increase in tokens, and the obvious infinite max supply comes in the form of the inflation, okay? So again, people look at this as quite good. They'll see the market cap being 4.6 billion, the FDV, fully diluted value, being 5.1, and that will get a stamp of approval on most of these, and I'm talking 99.999% of people's radar. Near protocol, much of a muchness as well. These guys do have a few more tokens to unlock. Ignore this big gray bar. This is the epoch reward. So really, they only have, what's this? A little bit more to go in terms of their unlocks, the actual distribution of the tokens itself. If you factor in inflation, of course, it's a bit more, but that's where we have the discrepancy over here. Okay, we can see that Near protocol should be about 980 odd or 900 odd million tokens in circulation, and we have a total supply, now certainly supply over 1 billion, which is the total tokens ever supposed to be in circulation. That, of course, comes in the way of the inflation, okay? But again, Near protocol's inflation is actually sustainable. Like ICP will eventually be, Near protocol has a flat 5% steady inflation rate. Now, like they mentioned here, this goes 90% to validators and 10% to the protocol treasury. This is healthy, very healthy. I don't understand why people get so upset about inflation. This says if you want Near protocol to continue growing, developing, and continuously earning you money, right, because it appreciates in terms of perceived value, therefore actual value in the token price, they have to fund themselves via the treasury. Not only that as well, they have to pay the guys securing the network, the validators. Hello, right? That's what Bitcoin does. Otherwise, no one's going to want to secure the network. It's the layer one flywheel model I always talk about. All right, so it's very important. That gets a big tick because, as we just saw, most of the tokens are out. Okay, circulating supply 1.1, again, total supply 1.2. So again, FDV 7 billion versus 6.5 billion. Big green tick in the eyes of the many. Lastly, Solana, massive unlock. Again, this just goes to show that depends who has access to the tokens. Will depend on how the project performs. Okay, so prime example from the last cycle, Solana didn't crash and burn with this massive unlock because, again, it matters who has access to the tokens. So in this case, much of a muchness, again, we remove inflation. It's a bit of a chunk right there. Pretty much all the tokens are out. So we do have, of course, the inflation to still go on, which follows a very similar model to ICP. It's called disinflation, all right? So inflation continues, but it kind of tapers off over time, as you can see here, at a steady rate of negative 15%. So until it goes down to 1.5%. So small amounts of inflation, but I guess the idea of small amount of inflation at that point is that the network will be quite large and quite valuable. That 1.5%, of course, will suffice to give to these validators to continue securing the network. And again, as we can see over here, that the market cap being 81 or 82 billion basically, and the FDV being 100 billion, that's going to make most people happy. So let's get into the actual news itself. If you're still here, I want to congratulate you. Thank you, because this is the sort of stuff you have to understand in crypto, right? Most people are in crypto thinking to themselves, okay, I'm just going to get here, watch the occasional top 10 altcoin video, and call it a day. If you invest in any of these coins, and I would recommend you always do at least 10 minutes of research per project per day, like watching videos like this. Follow me on Twitter, by the way, because I have all of the announcements over there before it comes to YouTube. Then you'll be on top of it. You might want to buy more or sell, depending on the news. All right, so in this case, we have some possible huge news. Let's start with the most obvious, Solana now. Okay, Solana has a possible ETF in the works, We just had the Ethereum ETFs go live. Great success. All right. Fantastic sort of stuff. Had to sort of prevent myself from doing the Borat impression. Needless to say, okay, this could be in the cards next. I think, like many have said before, the Ethereum ETFs wasn't so much a Ethereum ETF in terms of like this is the golden star product of crypto. It was more so a stepping stone for altcoins in general. Now, one of the key candidates I think next would be something like Solana or XRP, two of the more popular projects. I think we possibly will have a higher chance of seeing Solana this cycle due to popularity reasons. But again, that is pure speculation. So this report here says investment manager Van Eck files to list first spot Solana ETF in the US. This would be massive because Solana is a lot smaller market cap than Ethereum, but also it has a lot more speculation interest than I think than Ethereum does. Most people will see Solana as more of an accessible buy than something like Ethereum due to it being somewhat new and a lower market cap. Now, we also do have a similar stance on ICP. Now, again, I'm not going to go ahead and say it's equivalent. It definitely isn't equivalent to the possible availability or applicability that the Solana ETF possibly has. But again, it is quite promising to know that, and I'll get to it in a second here, the same as Near Protocol, they already have basically ETPs, exchange traded products, similar to basically ETFs, right? Now, it all comes on the back of Valor. Now, what is Valor? I actually worked with these guys on a recent video, okay? This is a legit company out of the US. This video isn't sponsored, by the way. This is not sponsored at all. But I wanted to point out that Valor, which is a subsidiary of DeFi Technologies, which has like over $500 million in assets under management and is a publicly traded company. It's huge. This is Web 2 money. This isn't crypto money. This is Web 2 money. $500 million, okay? They have a ETP with Near Protocol here and also ICP. They have a few others, obviously some of our favorites here. Link, Hedera, Polkadot. Cardano is kind of a favorite. I mean, I like Cardano, but it's not doing very well, and so on, right? So they're not like, oh my God, it's like the only two on this list. No, there's plenty more. Okay, there is, admittedly. However, this is a step in the right direction. This is what I'm sort of saying with you guys, okay? This kind of falls into my pumpermentals that I teach, and I have spent over 10,000 hours researching the fine print, wasting money, wasting time, more importantly, on other stuff, only to come to find that these events, the possibility that these actually come to fruition, and that these Valor ETPs are a step in the door for these two particularly. I think Solana is more solidified as a possibility than these two right now. Okay, this is where it all comes and ties back in. See this popularity right here? So first of all, you want to look at a quality coin, being that it's in good narratives, and these all three are Web3 layer ones, of course, Solana being Solana, right? We have AI, we have modularity, we have data availability, we have all these other narratives surrounding ICP and NEAR as well, okay? Which is great. They're also unique. They have a unique meme. Now, the next most important thing is, what are the chances a big event, announcement, roadmap event, some sort of partnership happens in the future? This will actually spike the project up insanely. And trust me, I've back-engineered this a lot. I know it works. Matter of fact, don't trust me. Have a look at Mina. I just picked this out of the blue for the purpose of explaining this in the video. I could have had 100 examples for this. Even Bitcoin reacts the same way on a larger scale. All right? Over here in October, yes, the whole market started moving up, but in a matter of a couple of days, all right, Mina's price was down here at 37 cents and it spiked up to $1. It 3x'd, okay, in a few days because it simply got launched on an Asian exchange. I think it was Japanese market, right? Or Korean. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it was huge. Not to mention, in the days later, based on the back of this news, we'll say days, about a month and a half, 2 months later, it went up a further double, right? Basically doubled from that point in time. That's a 5x from those lows. Okay, so again, you can kind of sit here and say, well, Kyron, this isn't solidified news yet. This isn't official. But when it is official, that's too late. Okay, that's too late. Now, I'm not trying to convince you to buy these coins. This is viewer discretion advised, right? Do what you want with your own money. I'm just here talking about the projects I love. I'm here trying to inform you on a possible announcement in the next 12 months that might be on the back of insanely bullish action for the market, which would then perpetuate the velocity of these coins even further. This is where we kind of go from the average from this point, being about a 5 to 10x, the average coin 5 to 10x, and from here, maybe a bit more, okay, to coins like these three, not so much Solana because, it isn't such a low market cap coin as these other, it's what? Order of about 10x larger than these two coins, at least. This is where they can kind of 20x from this point in time, 25x. and shock people. So you have to, again, come back to popularity. Similar to the narrative, popularity acts as a secondary boost for an altcoin. It's typically not the most powerful pump an altcoin will have. Second to the narrative, this is why it's the most crucial over here, but will allow us to take profits and may even align with the narrative pump. Anything that may relate to an altcoin's popularity increasing, again, like I said, announcement and so on. So this is what you have to look for and kind of hedge into as a good investor. Lastly, I will say these 3 coins have that degen, in my opinion, tick of approval, all right? Because they're all but Solana have a burn mechanism in place, right? They all have a burn mechanism in place. So NEAR burns 70% of every transaction, okay? Now, they did the math on this, and I remember, roughly speaking, it's about 1.1 billion transactions a day for them to become deflationary. So we're talking in the next 10, 20 years. However, I do want to say as well, this is what degens want. For it to be mimetic, for a coin to actually be applicable and people want to buy it, good meme, you have to have things like this that give, the tick of approval for degens. And again, of course, ICP also burns their transactions by people burning ICP basically and creating some of the token used in computation. All right. So I just wanted to point this out because I think this is big news, personally speaking. This is the sort of stuff an investor in crypto would look at and go, something's here. Something's here. Now, they're quality coins. Notice that they're crap coins, and you're betting on a crap coin, maybe having an ETF. That might be a bit of a stretch. But they're quality coins. They will likely do very well. On top of this news, you're just adding a greater risk and reward for you. Reducing the risk, increasing the reward. It becomes a more favorable trade, if you will. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have enjoyed today's video, let me know by hitting that like button down there. Really means a lot. Trust me, it does. I'll wake up tomorrow very happy you hit that like button. I can guarantee you that. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.